The Center for Innovation and Technology is offering you a golden opportunity to speak directly to your market at an affordable price. We also offer media training workshops, live streaming, documentary production, and events management. Get in touch with us today on the following numbers: +263 867 711 0290 or 0718 100 235. Don't forget to subscribe to our social media platforms. Like our Facebook page, Center for Innovation and Technology. Follow us on Twitter @SiteZW. And you can also check out our website, www.site.org.zw.
My name is Zenzele Ndebele, and welcome to the Breakfast Club, a program that looks at political, economic and social issues that happen daily in our lives. Today, it's one of those days when we talk to, it's always nice to talk to people who are exciting, controversial, talk a lot, and who are always in the news. In my program today, I had the chance to sit one-on-one with Temba Mliswa. And we had a lot of questions to ask him. And basically, this program will be hearing from Temba Mliswa, who says a lot of things. And as usual, the program will be very controversial. Let me start by saying congratulations for winning the Norton seat, which was contested, one of the elections that people were looking out to, because you were contesting not only against the chairperson of the War Veterans, but a senior government official. How did you manage to win that election?
Thank you very much for that compliment. Certainly, it's certainly fulfilling in that you, as a politician, sell a certain agenda to the people, and the only way you can get recognition for it and the buy-in is on the election day. After spending so much time with them and trying to get them to understand the whole idea, that day of the election is the one that tells you whether they bought the idea or not. The next thing is implementation. When they have a buy-in, okay, are you able to implement what you've said to them and so forth? The critical thing about representation is, yes, we're all representing people, but are you an effective member of parliament in representation? As you know, that there are many other things parliamentarians do. One, representation is one of them, legislation is one of them, and the other one is oversight over the executive. And when you talk about representation, it's not only Norton, but at national issues as well. Are you able to talk to what the people expect us to do? And are you able to talk to what is expected of government and in terms of its deliverables based on constitutionalism, which is critical? And that is something that you've got to align yourself, because it's just not about Temba Mliswa when you're in parliament. It's about national interest and so forth. And it's not about Norton. Norton is part of the nation. No wonder why it's known as the National House of Assembly, where you then allow the Norton issues to be set aside for national interest. But whatever affects the people of Norton, be it electricity, water, sanitation, you must have a way of bringing it up so that it covers national interest, but at the same time, representation of the people of Norton as well. So my secret to being an effective legislator is interaction with the people, talking to the people, being with the people. As I speak today, I'm saddened that I'm here because one of the strong members of my constituency was disabled, set free, Dungwiza. He's no more. He's a disabled person who was pushing for him to have his offer letter, his wife to also teach at a school near him, and unfortunately he's no more. But before I left, I was there yesterday to be able to play my role of Kubata Maoko, being with them and give assurance to the family that the farm will go into his wife's name, and that the wife will also be able to get assistance in terms of the nearby school she must be able to attend, to look at the challenges which are there. So that's representation, that in that you are having from a microscopic point of view, looking at the management of people's issues and so forth. And ultimately, the ordinary person that you meet in the street and say, Honorable Mliswa, there's this issue affecting us. Why is it that we have RTGS and US dollar? Why don't you sort it out in Parliament? It's your job. You listen. You take note of it, then you bring it up in Parliament and so forth, because the ordinary person on the streets is equally suffering and wants an answer, and he does not have to go to the MP. I represent everyone, so I make time for them in that regard. The aspect of water and sanitation for the people in the area, the key deliverables. Are we making sure that we're on course? Are we making sure that the land barons have been able to finish their physical planning expectations so that people get title deeds at the end of the day? The sewers, are they in line? For example, I'm the legislator for Norton. I must understand the master plan. Where is Norton's master plan? And for your information, they didn't have a master plan. So all these buildings that have been built and structures without a master plan, how come they happen to be there? That's why you see people building on wetlands and so forth. And I'm able to then go to the Norton Town Council and say, but why are you building houses on wetlands? Why are you building a church where there's supposed to be a school? Where is the space for recreation for these young kids? Because the Constitution talks about people having access to recreation and so forth. Going into the schools, ensure that there's education, and providing what I could from my own resources and so forth. But equally, keeping a check on the Norton Town councillors, because I am the father of the constituency. I am not a developmental person. Development is purely for the Norton Town Council in sync with the Constitution. 274, that they will be running the urban and rural councils and to ensure that service delivery is done. And I must be asking that if people are paying rates, where is that money going? So if they do something, it's me putting the pressure. And people are happy that our MP is putting the pressure, because I represent everyone and so forth. The aspect of accountability is critical. Why should the council buy expensive cars at the expense of service delivery? When there are no good schools, there's no health care. If you look at the Norton Hospital, it was built for a population of 40 people. Norton is hitting 100,000. So I go to the Minister of Health and say, but can this hospital be upgraded to be a district hospital? These are the issues, and you can only do that if you know your area in terms of the problems that they face and you're able to interact with the people. The commercial sex workers, they come to me, say, MP, there are no condoms. Those who are also sick and in ARV, they say there's a shortage of ARVs, MP. What are you doing about that? I'm able to do that in going to the beer halls where they hang out. I am there. I listen to them. They come to me. MP, you are here? Yes. I go to their funerals. I go to field days. I go to sports days. I go to church. Where there are people, I'm not invited. Okay, I'm already invited because I'm representing people. The mere effect of them putting an X on me, you don't invite me to your house. You've already invited me, so I come and ask, how are you? I'll appear at anybody's house in the constituency and just say, I'm here, I want to talk to you. What do you think is happening in the constituency? MP, I don't have bread here. And I said, no, let's go and buy bread. Let's have tea together. Sure, MP, yes. I'm understanding people in various areas, different words. I'm able to interact with the people there, from the ordinary person to hear the youth in the community. What is it that I want to do for them? There's a community center that I'm putting together, ICT center, an economic hub for them where they can come there, research, do what they have to do, and all that.
But a senior government official, how did you manage to win that election? So far, what are some of the projects that they are doing in your constituency? How do you balance that time?
When I was in Urungwa West, it was a rural constituency. I was in the constituency once a week. There were 6 wards. So I'd say this week I'm going to one ward. So I'm able to deal with the problems of that ward. And they knew it, that he's coming back. But if there's an emergency, they come to me. I've got 16 wards in Norton. And in having 16 wards in Norton, the first thing that I do religiously, I'm up at 4 a.m. I talk to God in my time. I meditate. And then I'm able to go to the gym. Then from there, I attend to my meetings. 8 o'clock I'm done. If I've got parliament, then I go to parliament in the morning. If not, I first go to the constituency. I just drive around. At times I jog in the constituency. Then I go back home. By the way, I live in Borodale, but I represent the people of Norton. And then I go to parliament. Then I go back in the evening. I always said I'm the first man into the constituency in the morning, up. I'm the last man out. Accidents have happened when I'm on my way out, where I'm forced to now use my car to take people to the hospital. I'm able to inform them of the challenges that they're having before anybody else, because I serve their interest. In serving their interest, I must be able to be on top of the situation. I have ward coordinators in my offices who tell me what is happening. There's a funeral here, somebody's sick, this one has not gone to school, and so forth. The aspect of scholarship for kids. I run a scholarship of over 300 kids that I pay school fees for, to ensure that they're able to do that. So you've got to have a balanced life where, from a physical point of view, you're also able to withstand the aspect, because if your physical is weak, mentally you're weak. If physically you're strong, mentally you're strong, you're able to balance that and so forth. And I'm able to spend a lot of time with them because of the relationships that we have. They can call me. I've only got one number. They must have access to me. Or MP did not answer my phone. I said, I was busy, sorry. But I always get back. I get 300, 400, 600 messages, 2,000 messages a day. But I go through them in the morning, the time that I'm preparing for constituency work, to do my reports and so forth. I also have time to also read in terms of what must come into Parliament, my representation. When I was a chairman of Mines, I had to study and understand a lot about the Act. What does it say? Because you cannot go into these issues. Though I'm not a miner, I've never mined before, but it's about information at hand, where I'm able to question, I'm able to read the agreements and see how best I'm able to address an issue, because it's not about Temba Mliswa, it's about the laws which are before us that we must protect and so forth.
You talked about being the chairperson of the Mines Committee, and we know there was the fight that ended up being in Parliament around that chairmanship. Would you want to shed light on that?
Believe you me, whatever I do my best at it. If you make me a cleaner today, I'll clean better than everyone else. If you make me a legislator, I'll be better than everyone, because I do my best in everything I do. If I'm going to chair any portfolio committee, I'll do my best, because I know that is the only way. And the issue is that when you are then able to discharge your duties the way I do, and because I am not whipped, first of all, I'm very independent in my thinking and my approach of things, and I think I pay attention to detail. I prepare myself for what I am supposed to preside over, so that there's no energies which is channeled for personal issues, but for national interest. I'm able to do that, but in doing so, I rival a lot of enemies. I have a lot of things which creates enemies and so forth. But if you really ask yourself, Mliswa, people say I'm a trouble causer, and I ask you, but what trouble did I cause? And no one has to answer, because in our country, people are used to being passive. They want to speak when they've suffered. I was never brought up like that. My upbringing is important. When we grew up as children, we were told to do what I wanted. That's why I specialize in sport, because our parents of that generation did not believe sport was the key. They always said you must go to school, and academic is the way forward. But my parents were different. They allowed us to speak, to be independent, to do what we did. My mother was Zana, my father was up. They went to Zambia, crossed over, they met there. And so you can see my sister is on the PF, I'm independent. We're able to interact and to do the sort of things that we do. I invite my friends to my house when I have a party. She comes there. Sevia Kasukwera I talk to. I call him my Sekura and all that. But the ZANU PF people now see my sister with Sevia at my house. Then they say, why were you talking to Sevia? We don't operate like that. We are more tolerant as a people, as a family, and we're able to separate politics, time to socialize, and national interest, and also the living space for us being a people of Zimbabwe and also being relatives. I cannot stop burying my relative because they belong to a different party. We were not raised like that, unfortunately. We lack tolerance. How many people have been expelled from political parties because they were seen speaking to an MDC or independent people, especially in ZANU PF? But how do you also get people on your side if you're not able to talk to them? Maybe I'm trying to recruit on behalf of the party. for somebody to join the party, but you crucify me for that. That's the reason why I really don't have time for political parties, because it's more for political expediency than developmental issues. And with time, they are now running out of a purpose in terms of the things that I think they stand for. Look at their manifestos. How have they implemented their manifestos? You go into power, you have a manifesto. I'm going to build schools. I'm going to do clinics. Agriculture will provide irrigation. Have that been done? And that's what there must be questioned. This is why the opposition, must be able to enjoy ZANU-PF not performing well economically and say, look at what they're doing. We promise you this. We promise you this. For my dear brother Chamisa, who I have a lot of regard for as a politician, brilliant, young, he must now be exposing ZANU-PF for underperforming and prepare for 2023, than contesting whether Mnangagwa is a president or not. Because you contest for 5 years, but Mnangagwa is in for 5 years. And come the 5 years, people will say to you, but what are you offering us when you're in office? And he's got time to be able to do that and so forth. If the Constitutional Court has spoken, he must say, yes, I respect the verdict of the Constitutional Court, as much as I believe the people were on my side. But being a person who respects the Constitution of the country, because that's what politicians must abide by, is the Constitution. We will go ahead and we will meet Comrade Mnangagwa 2023, wait and see. But right now he's monitoring the activities that he's doing, because corruption is rife in the party. There is a lot of things economically which are not going well. The minister's appetite is corruption, is to steal, not to work for the country. And you expose them one by one. All the deals in the mining sector which have been said to be signed, scrutinize them. Are they bringing in the money? If they've signed a $1 billion deal, why can't you speak to the person to give us 200 million so that we put into fuel, we put into various things? That's why you see that those deals become dubious. That corruption touches on anyone. Two things which the opposition must focus on to campaign for 2023. Hit corruption. ZANU-PF has no answer for corruption. Secondly, rule of law. Why is it as a parliamentary committee we recommend that ZCDC, the Zimbabwe Consolidated Diamond Company, must not operate, but it continues to cooperate. The Supreme Court must say it must operate, but it continues to operate. That's why, in a way, I'm happy that the Parliamentary Committee on Mines was dissolved, because that was my recommendation. It was too polarized. ZANU-PF, being the ruling party, must be in the forefront of criticizing its own policies and asking questions to their minister to deliver.
Have you managed to solve your issues with Nduna?
You've got to understand that Nduna, unfortunately, as it is apparent, has more issues with himself than me. When you talk about killing people, did I even ask you how many you killed? You just self-confess that I've killed people, some that I don't know.
But did you believe him at that particular time, or you thought he was just threatening you?
Listen, I think there's a difference between a threat and, spiritually, when you kill somebody, one day you say it unbeknown, subconsciously. They say those who die, work through certain ways. I'm African at the end of the day. I'm human. We were always told this, that at times when you kill somebody, that's blood spilled. You see people walking in the streets talking to themselves, and you ask why. You can get away with a good lawyer when you've murdered somebody, but you cannot get away with your conscience. Your conscience is your master. It will tell you killed somebody. And you'll be seeing the vision of you having killed somebody. Why did he have to talk about that? You must ask, why did he? He was not invited to say it, and suddenly he says that. He is known for gun toting. Che Gutu is there, is known for gun toting and so forth. The battlefield, the issue of the gold, he's implicated in it, people have died and so forth, and all these issues, issues surrounding all that. He was in the Air Force. We only now know that he was court-martialed because he stole a TV. That's on record. So when I said he's a thief, it was on the basis that he had stolen a TV, and it's on record. So I'm not lying. Go and find out from the Air Force why he left the Air Force. If I'm lying, I'll be the first to apologize, you being a journalist. But Honorable Mliswa, he never stole a TV, or he never stole money for a TV. So is Parliament now become a warehouse where people with crimes come and hide behind so that they can be protected. The Zinara money, given 13 million rands, given $8 million to do work, he never did anything. And you expect him to have oversight. So, they're different. It's a mixed bag, and we need to now start knowing ourselves, who we are, because we don't know each other. We come there and we meet. What do you do? Where do you come from? We see we have murderers there. We have thieves in parliament. We have rapists in parliament. Now you start saying to yourself, am I really in the right place or not? It's like other people who went to war. They were running away from the crimes that they've committed, but told you that I went to liberate the country. Yet he was a criminal, and he had stolen things, and they were looking for him and so forth. And getting away to go to the war was the best thing to get away from it. But it's not the most I worry.
There's a guy who's always taking a number of people on Twitter. I just forget his name, but he alleges that you stole his company. Did you steal the company?
He seems to be obsessed with my name. He's been at it for how many years now? 15 years. I've come in, I've been a legislator. It's never affected my social standing. And people must now ask, what is it? Who is he in the first place? He's gone through the London House of Commons. I've responded to the London House of Commons on these issues and so forth. He's tried to go into hospital, to be a con artist, to pretend as if he's dying so that people feel sorry for him. Because you know what? The English have got a very weak system where they feel sorry for those who pretend to be victims of something. There's what you call a dole system, where they pay you money and so forth. But look at him, who is he? What did he ever own in this country? He was 50% of North Shore Motors Benba and 50% who belonged to a black guy, Hamaskoj Banda, where I bought. At the time, I was very close to Chiwuri. North Shore Motors was supplying cars to Chiwuri. When I took over from the 50% from Hamaskoj Banda, I was then arrested by Chiwuri because now the cuts and the commissions which were going to Chiwuri were not going there. That's when I started getting arrested, when I said, but the Commissioner General is corrupt of police. That's why those arrests started happening and so forth. There are statements to show how much money was in the account. There was no money, how much money I injected and so forth. He got arrested. Okay, at a time when the whole system was against me. He had the system on his side, but I was still acquitted at the end of the day. So the question is, I've gone to court, you've taken me to court, and the Commissioner General of Police is on your side, and still the court rules that I did absolutely nothing wrong. But you still talk about Mliswa having taken. What company did you have? The problem that when white people speak, we think that they are correct. And you think that they have money. There are white people who are poor, who are con artists too, who steal. You must understand that, who are corrupt. It's unfortunate that our people always like believing white men. I have more than he has, and I can account for it at the end of the day. But I've realized that he has a mental problem. He went through drug rehabilitation. It was stamped in his passport and so forth. Even if you had to ask me, okay, Honorable Mliswa, Paul Westwood is talking about thing. He's Mchade Hama is his lawyer. He's gone to every lawyer. Every lawyer is attending to all the issues and so forth. The lawyers are tired. So what more do you want me to do? If he wants a donation for me, surely let him come to Norton, be my constituency, vote for me, and I'll definitely donate something to him to be my constituency. It's not even an issue. This is what I'm saying, that I like this opportunity because we're talking about him. I mean, ask me a question and I'll answer you. What is it that you want me to do? There's the police. He's written to President Mugabe, he's written to Mnangagwa, he's written to the House of Commons. I responded to them to say, but this person is like this, I sent a document like this. So the question is that with so much noise, why is somebody not helping him, especially with the enemies I have? Do you know how many people would like to see me in prison? Because they say to me, this is a man who advocates for zero tolerance on corruption, but look at what he's doing. If he has V11s, it will be headlines. Mliswa nabbed for taking over somebody's company.
One of the issues that you talked about in Parliament was the issue of the MPs' welfare, where people thought that you were advocating for people to, the taxpayers to give MPs luxurious cars and luxurious meals. Can you please enlighten us on that issue?
You've got to understand, let's look at the office of the MP. I don't want you to think of somebody that you grew up who's an MP now, that you'd want to see being given resources from taxpayers. There are a lot of personal issues that I look at. People say, but I grew up with Mliswa, why is he driving a Land Cruiser, and so forth. Look at the office of the MP. Look at the way they live. Look at the work that they do, the terrain, and so forth. You want us to have oversight over the executive, but the executive is more empowered than us. How can you be told to catch a thief on a Mercedes-Benz when you're a motorbike, when you're a bicycle? You go to war with people with nuclear, okay? But you wakabata reckon. You tell me how? These are the issues which I think we need to understand and separate. Issues that MPs, some of them are HIV, some of them are sugar, diabetic, and so forth. Don't they deserve a good nutrition? That's the point. The 3-course meal, I'm talking about good nutrition. That's the point. Are you with me? Because they're standing in there. We're also human beings. Some of us are HIV, some of us have got different diseases. Blood pressure, which requires a good diet, what that you must eat, and so forth. Why can't we be given that? That is my point. And why can't we empower them so that they're able to catch the thief, they're able to do their jobs? But because they're under-resourced and capacitated, even as Parliament itself, research is short. You end up being compromised. You're spending more time at the minister's office, him giving you deals so that you don't bring it up. No wonder why that mines committee will never be the same again, because the Minister of Mines, Chitando, has captured it in that he doesn't want certain things to come up. The Wange report, where he was chairman before he was minister, implicated him. He decided to do a reconstruction order so that things don't come out. So are you with me? So now you have a situation where MPs are now compromised. Money has been put before us and we are not able to do what we have to do. So they've got to be given the necessary resources so that they're able to act. Don't think of the name. Look at the principle of the office of the MP.
You are very outspoken when it comes to issue of corruption. What do you think needs to be done to solve the issue of corruption?
You know, when the former President Mugabe was president, he indoctrinated us to a point where we're even scared to talk about regime change. Because whenever it was a regime change, it was said you're against the government. But regime change is not about being against the government. It's about bringing in a regime that will do what the people want. Smith's regime was racist. The current regimes are corrupt. So what's wrong with changing a corrupt regime? But with Smith, racist, you say, yes, we're together. We have moved beyond racism in this country and a lot of things, but good governance, principles of good governance, and that requires us to have a regime which will work with the people, for the people, do laws by the people, and be able to account to the people, and be able to create employment and deliver what their manifesto says. So when now you say to somebody regime change, you are seen to be an enemy of the state. But it's not that. When a government is not performing according to the will of the people, there surely must be regime change. And corruption is cancerous. The current president, Mnangagwa, has so much goodwill in that in the Second Republic, he must lead it for 5 years. Yes, it's difficult to try and judge him before he has his 5 years. But you can see that he is running on his own. There's a difference between him and his ministers. And now he's surrounded by a lot of ministers who are corrupt. The NASA report, which forensic audit, which awaits to be released, has not been released. Why? Okay, and if he has to act, he must act on the Auditor General's report, which recommends Honorable Mliswa needs to be investigated. He did this, and this is the issue with Honorable Nduma. The auditor's report talks about his company, Bardon Investments, saying that he must be investigated. Are you with me? But because the system is so corrupt, they don't arrest. What I dislike is the selective application of the law. With the MDC people, their demonstration, you arrest them, you have energy. But the ZANU-PF stealing, you don't arrest them. What's more dangerous? A person stealing taxpayers' money and making a country suffer, or these violent things which are there. Are you with me? I'm not saying that people are allowed to be violent, but there is the selective application of the law, which is not proper. We must be consistent in that regard and so forth. And President Idi Mnangagwa, being a lawyer, okay, is fair, understands issues, is reasonable, and must be able to. He's a listening president. But you can't also be listening and not also act. There's going to be a time when he's got to act now. And why surround himself with the same people who were with Mugabe, who failed Mugabe? Mugabe was failed by his people around him. And he must choose a team that performs. And a team that performs does not mean you must choose ZANU-PF people only. You must choose people as Zimbabwean who are for this country. After he got in the first time in the Second Republic, I expected certain ministers coming from the MDC. I expected, 3 vice presidents of the MDC to be given positions, Chamisa, Mudzuri, and Kupe. Priscilla Misiaira, I'm going to be given a position, and then you balance. Let them say no, but the country, they've seen you reaching out. Because this country cannot be sorted out by ZANU-PF only. In fact, ZANU-PF is the one that has put this country in this mess. So they need others to help them get out of the mess. That's the truth of the matter. And Zimbabweans right now are worried more about their welfare, about the performance of the government. And it takes all of us, like-minded people who are Zimbabweans. The president has got the power to fire any minister he wants if they don't perform. And you don't need 3 months, 6 months to see that the minister is not performing. You see that. The bureaucrats have not changed. He has done well in changing the cabinet minister, but the cabinet minister have not changed the bureaucrats, which means the system remains the same. That is the truth of the matter, and that's what we find ourselves in. We give him time, he's in power, we can't judge him, we can only judge him in 5 years, and people are patient to wait and judge you.
What's your future, politically? Are you likely to join any political party, or you want to remain as an independent?
I'm a servant of the people, and I'm God-fearing. God leads me, guides me, protects me to the next office. But certainly, I am destined for a much bigger office than this. This is just the first step, and it's the first level. But political parties I'm not interested in. They are just they're institutions that have created havoc in this country. They're overrated. The power that they have is not what we think they have. Their power is abused instead of helping people. The in-house fighting, violence starts from political parties. The corruption starts from political parties. And they're all the same at the end of the day. It's like they're born from the same mother and father. So there's no political party which you say is right and wrong. They're all the same at the end of the day. And the sooner this nation develops beyond that and chooses leaders for who they are in terms of capacity, the better. Look at Norton today. Look at the employment, what I've done for the people of Norton. Okay, you're talking about in the last 6 months, I've created over 3,000 jobs for the people of Norton. There's the factory coming through, the Chinese factory. There's another factory coming that will employ 1,500 jobs. There's another factory furniture that will create 500 jobs. Lucas Batteries is back on 300 to 500. And disappointingly enough, the Norton Town Council turned down an offer for an abattoir to be built by the Community Ownership Trust of Chegutu, which was going to create 1,600 jobs. Just because I brought them to Norton, then you make a political decision not to have it there. But yet, the MDC councillors are the ones who dominate the urban. So who was that going to help the people in the urban? I'm yet to write to Chamisa to say, Chamisa, what is your policy in terms of your party? Is it to turn away jobs or to create jobs for people? Because these were young MDC people who were going to get jobs. Okay, and they control those areas. Even when you control, you are so obsessed with personal fights that you turn away a factory that will create 1,600 jobs. So the electorate needs to find people with capacity, people who are able to represent them so that their lives change. But ultimately, I remain independent. Back to back, I've won as an independent and so forth. It gives me a good opportunity for me to discuss, to represent people effectively in a lot of things. You look at that parliament, the only person people know is me, not because I'm good, because I speak The rest in the political parties can't speak. They are worried that if they attack a minister, they are fired. Are you with me? And with my open-mindedness, I can't join any other party, because the next thing I will criticize the leadership in the party, and I'll be told that I'm a renegade, I'm a rebel, I must be expelled. I've been expelled once. I don't think I want to ever be expelled. Let the people expel me at the ballot box. That's the best way to get out of politics.
Are you not afraid of your life? I mean, don't you receive threats with the kind of issues that you say in Parliament and in public?
I'm a man who believes in God. I'm a man who believes in God, and in believing in God, I've never needed any other security. People have said to me, you need extra security, but I'm equally trained myself to protect myself if you dare attack me, but I don't attack. My training does not allow me to attack.
So are you a karateka?
I'm trained to protect myself in a manner which most people don't understand. I've gone through Japanese training and in a certain martial arts which I cannot mention. That's my security, that's my secret. But do rely on me that I can. I'm trained to take on 20 people at one go with my back against the wall. I'm safe like that. If they become more than that, then it becomes different. But I'm quite trained. That's why I never attack. When people say Temba is violent, he's beaten somebody, they've never seen me beat anybody. When I beat, there's no blood. I break bones. And
so
when
you say someone will be here, you'll be mean.
Listen, he was going to attack me. That's why I didn't want to attack him. If he attacks me, I have no choice. I had warned him. Part of my training insists that I must warn you. I must warn you, so that when I defend myself, I'll say to the judge, I warned this person. I warned this person. That's what so I don't abuse it at all. I stay fit. I train hard. I eat well. Spiritually, I'm protected by God, and I continue to serve the people of this country. It's a great country, Zimbabwe. We are not doing enough for our people. They're resilient. They're tough.
I would like to thank you very much, Honorable Temba Mliswa, for giving this opportunity to talk to you and ask some of these issues that people ask about daily, and sometimes they don't have the chance to talk to you about these questions.
It's been a pleasure talking to you.
I hope you actually enjoyed this program, and there are times when I could not help it but laugh during this interview, because Mliswa will bring some of these issues in a very funny, controversial way, but that's who he is. He's known to be controversial, and if you don't talk to him nicely, you end up here. This was the Breakfast Club. My name is Zenzele Ndebele. Till we meet again tomorrow, have a good day.